There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to edit like audio for an audiobook. Again, this is just my version of it. There are many other additional things that can be done with it once you have your audio in the system. And let me move this up. So here we go. Boop. So once you have your audio in the system, first thing I always want to do is, if it's already in line and you know it's in line, which I can tell I've got everything where I need it, then I'm going to select all clips on the same line that are connected and merge them, just because it makes it simpler to edit all at one go. Okay. Then you'll double click on here and you'll double click again. Now I'm using PC, so the commands that I have are going to be for PC. Mac, I do apologize, I'm not as versed, so I do apologize. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and do this. Now, if you can see here, what I did was go into the, sorry, here we go, back over here in the corner. So if you ever need to switch views of it between waveform and like track form, you can double click on the track itself, or come over here and click on the specific track that you're looking for. If you ever need to get back to where you're going, to the main multi-track layer, then there's a little segment over here that's got the little multi-lines on it. Usually says session, and you'll double click that. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna double click here, and if you notice here, I've got some spikes, some very definitive spikes. Excuse me. Those are normally going to be areas where I did a snap due to an error. So what I'm going to do first is go to those, and by error I mean there was as I was rating or talking, I made an error. I snapped to reset myself, so that way it made it easier to find it later in post-production. So you can see there,
Number 5.
second snap there, right? So if I said number 5,
Now, as far as the
back it up here to where I may say number 5.
actually an 8.4 is what we're giving this on the Pandamora.
All right, so no, it looks like I didn't do anything. So what we're gonna do then is I'm gonna give myself a little bit of window, and then we're just going to remove it. Now R on the keyboard will give you your here we go, just to show you. So if you ever need to find it, one, edit, tools. I've got it selected, so it's not letting me do it. But normally, if you're right here, you can press R. It'll give you your eraser tool. Because I have it highlighted, though, I can just hit delete, and it'll take that segment out for me. So now,
Giving this on the Pandamora. Number 5.
perfect. Okay. So there's that. So let's skim back through here and see if we can find the others. Here's one more.
The voice actors bring the voice actors.
Right there. So we'll delete that. Make sure it sounds okay.
The voice act.
All right. Let's get this other one.
Personal growth, though.
Personal growth.
It's personal growth.
There we go. So this one we're going to zoom in a little bit because it looks like I was mid conversation.
His personal growth, though. Seshu's personal growth, though, is great to watch. His personal growth, though.
Okay, so yeah, we'll do this.
His personal growth, though.
There we go. And there's one right here.
Next we have 8 out of 10.
Perfect. So this was just me taking a breath. So we'll just delete that there. And do we have any others? Up, one more.
The animation does have.
All right. And what was this again?
Does have some components that are nostalgic. The animation does have some components that are nostalgic. Does have some complements of some. The animation does have some components that are nostalgic, very welcoming art style, and so that's what you're going to see with this one. The animation does have some complements
There we go. Found it. There we are.
The animation does have
So we got that.
number one.
Number one.
School or Okazaki, Akazaki. Welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you 5
Uh,
that you should check out. Today, we're going to start off with Clan.
let's try this again.
Number one, Clan A.
Yeah, it looks like this whole area I need to take out. So
Welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you 5 animes that you should check out.
right there. So this is what I mean by hitting R. We'll have to be on the main screen, but I'm not going to do that here. Here we go. Delete. Perfect. Now that's done. I'm gonna double click up here so I can see my full round. Oh, we got one more down here. Oh no, that's just me talking. All right. So now we double click and highlight the entire area. Make sure it is the entire length of the bar, not just this little portion. As you can see, these things move, right? So make sure it's the entire bar that you have highlighted. And then you're going to go into your effects. Now, I like to boost everything up before I go back through and clean it up. That way I can hear everything that's going to come through, okay? Again, personal preference. Now, I have favorites set up for these, VO parts 1 and part 2. I'm going to show you, 1, how to make those favorites, 2, how to go through the whole process, okay? So, first, when you're making a favorite, because we're going to do this all in a row, you want to go to your favorites area. Down at the bottom, you should say start recording favorite. So you'll click that. It'll give you a little information, and you'll want to come back and say basically stop after you're done. Okay? You're going to hit OK. Now, we're going to go to effects. Excuse me. We go to effects, and we want to go to, actually, before we do that, let me stop this. Here we go. No new favorite was recorded. Perfect. Good, because I didn't give you anything. So we're going to start off with coming to the very beginning or the very end. Your choice. Okay. Usually you have more space at the beginning. Sometimes you have it at the end. It's not a problem. Either way, you can pull it from where you want to. But you're going to get, if you look down here, and I'm going to make this bigger at the wavelength, this is where you can kind of see where different pitches and intonations is, for example, or are. Right, so some of your deeper things are there. This little low valley here, these little lulls, this is your baseline, okay? So what you want to do, you want to take a nice little snippet of your baseline. You're going to hit Control-Shift-P, all right? Now, for those, again, this is Mac, this is a PC, so for those on Mac, it'll be your effects. It's going to be your noise reduction, okay? And you're going to hit noise reduction process. Now that's going to give you this lovely little screen here. When you hit Shift P, it's going to give you this lovely screen here. Okay. Now, what you selected is your noise print. Now, if you notice when I went in here, again, effects, noise reduction, you have capture noise print, which you can do, which is that button right there, right? So you can click that, Shift P, and it'll capture it for you. And then Control-Shift-P is still going to bring this up because it needs to know what area you're wanting to assign this to. But we're in here, so we'll do it this way. So we'll capture the noise print, which is capturing the sound in this, that baseline sound. Then we're going to come in here and select the entire file. Now what you want to do is you have the green area and the yellow area. The green area is the noise floor, so that you want to kind of bring it up if you can. And you can play this as you're going, so you can hear it adjust. But you want to come and bring it right below your voice. If you go too high, you'll start covering over your voice. So you don't want to do that. You want to get it right under there for that. And then you're going to apply it. It's going to take a few seconds here to run through, depending on how long it is. But when you play now, you'll hear it a little bit. You'll hear a lot of that bass floor, the space between space there. And if you look at it, even. You can see how diminished it is right down there from what it looked like before. So I'm gonna show you this. Undo. This is what it looks like before, and I'm gonna make this bigger for you. Here we are. So this is what it looked like before. Here. And then that's what it looked like after. So you can see it drastically removed that from the bottom. Now, again, thing is, it also removes it from across the board. So that's why you don't want to go over your voice, because then it'll start encroaching on your actual vocal intonations and things of that nature. Okay. So let's bring this back down. Next, we're going to go ahead and re-click on the entire thing. Now, again, your screen's only going to show what's within this segmented area. So if you want to double click on that so you see the full bar, just click within that little gray area. Okay. Now, we have this highlighted. We're going to go back to our processing. So we'll start recording favorite. And so you only have to do this the first time, because after that, you'll just be able to go in, click your favorites, boom, it'll be done, right? So we're going to start recording it. We're going to go back into our effects, and we're going to go first normalize. So we're going to normalize the entire thing. I like bringing it up to -1 because it's eventually going to compress down, right? Usually for ACX, you want it to be at a -3 for the sound. So just as a heads up on that. Most other places, -6 is good enough. But if you're doing it for ACX, Audible, things of that nature, you probably want to put it at a -3. That's what they're going to accept. Okay. So I go up to -1 first to pull everything out of it. Now this one's really high, so let me see what this is really quickly.
This one's high on my list on the Pandemora at an 8.
Okay, so that's
list.
just me.
This one,
me talking, got a little excited there. That went up. So what we're gonna do now is I'm actually gonna we're gonna scroll the screen down. Well, we're recording our thing right now, so let me not do that. I'll come back to that later. So I'll double click on this. And then the next thing we're going to do, now we've only done the one action for it to record, right? The next action for it to record is going to be amplitude, dynamics processing. Now what the dynamics processor does is it brings down all the pitches. So all these spikies here, it's going to average it out and bring them all to where everything's within the same volume range. So if you look here,
welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you.
If I turn it off, which this button here turns it off.
Check out. Number 1, clan ad. Now this one revolves around a character.
You're not really going to hear it here. Let me move it down here.
Now as far as comparisons go,
no, turn it off.
for the music and drama enthusiasts, Nadame Cantabile will come to mind.
If you feel that's too high still,
as far as age range,
you can bring that down, bring those arches down,
just because of some of the mature
and
things
turn it
that
off.
Get talked about, not for the younger ones.
Turn it back
Overall,
on.
though, a very
it mellows the entire thing out, kind of brings all those spikes together, kind of compresses them down. Okay.
At an 8.
So we're gonna apply that, and you see what it did there. It went from all those spikies to an even keel across the board. Now we're gonna come back to our favorites and stop recording, and then that is where you'll put in the name of your recording, and it's done, right? So for me, that was my VO part 1. So I do those two things first, right? Now, you're going to highlight again. You're going to shrink it back down to your beginning, and you're going to redo the process again, because if you look at it, because we elevated the noise floors and things of that nature, you have this fuzzies back. It didn't look like that before, right? We had finished it. So if we listen.
Welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you 5 animes that you should check out. Number 1, clan ad. Now this one revolves around.
Now it's not bad, but take a look.
Welcome back.
So what we're going to do is we're going to redo that first process again. We're going to capture that noise print. Control-Shift-P. It's going to bring that back up. We're good here. We're going to capture our noise print. We're going to select the entire file, and then we're going to apply it again. Now, the reason we don't add this into our favorite is because this is going to change per audio. This is something that you want to do manually, so you can see that. So you see how that's out of there. Now these little things are either little breaths or possible clicking that I may have done with my tongue accidentally while I was talking. See, like that, things of that nature. So while I'm in here, I'll wait because, like I said, I always want to save those types of editings to the end, so I know exactly how it's going to sound at the very final piece of it, right? So we did that part. That part's done. Now we're going to come back and we're going to do our second portion of our second favorite. So we're going to start favorite again. You're going to hit OK. This time I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go to effects, and this time we're also going to do the same normalize process. Boom, normalized, right? Back to 1. The reason why we do that is because we're going to hard limit it at 3. So we're going to bring it back down to 3. So as you can see here, we've got our spaces in there. Everything's good to go. I'm going to open it up, but because you see how that brought those noise floors back out. So I just want you to notice that as we went. And then we're going to compress it and normalize it back down with a hard limiter, which means this is going to stop it at, bring this over, -3. That's the one that you want to hit, the -3 dB. You can do -6 if you want, depending on what you're working on. Normally, like I said, if you're doing ACX, you want to do -3. For this one, I think I am going to do -6 because this is for YouTube. So it doesn't have to be technically as loud, if that makes sense. Actually, no, I'm going to do it to 3. Just so you all can see that also. And also because when I add in the audio track behind it, that'll make more sense. So it gives me more wiggle room with the volumes. So we apply that, and then we stop the recording. Boom, put our part 2 in there. That part's done. Now we're gonna go back in and we're gonna listen.
Welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you 5 animes that you should check out.
All right, so that's done there. Now you can hear the clicking very clearly in there. You can hear some of the smaller breaths, which I don't like, but they got to be taken from time to time. So what I'm going to do now is, this is where you start fine tuning. So for 1, highlight everything, and if you want, you can do another noise reduction. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. You have to make sure that you select the area, otherwise it's not going to do anything. So you select the small area, capture, select entire, and apply. Let's see if there's any change in our noise floor when we do this. Okay, there we go. Got some of that grainy out.
Welcome back to the Pandemora, where we give you 5 animes that you should check out.
There we go. So that's taken care of there. Now, that again, those things you want to do individually. You don't want to add those into your favorite grouping, because again, those spots and spacings change per length of the piece, all that. And so it's very specific in what it locks in on. But we got that part done.
Clinical delinquent who forms unique bonds with several of the schoolmates. Now, the story's appeal isn't just the drama, but it's also how it interweaves fantasy with the very touching and
so you see how that's all in there. Now, what I'll do for situations like that where I hear those little spaces, there is a Control U, which is auto heal. If you go into effects, where is it? I don't remember where I found that. Oh, where is it? Heal. Edit. Tools. Here we go, right here. Spot healing brush. So that's That's that there. Where you can click it, and this is something you can just kind of brush in. And if you stop, you see it kind of takes some of that out there. So, like, for example, watch this. Also, whenever you highlight some area and press play, it's only going to play what's in that highlighted area. Spacebar is a play button as well. But if I do, we said, was it B? Where's it at? Tools, spot brush B. So you can just press B in there. Boop. You can't have anything highlighted, unfortunately, when you do that. But B, and then if I go in and paint this area here, and actually I'm going to paint a little over on both sides, if you notice that. And that's not a problem, okay? Let that heal, because all it is pulling out the soft tones that are not normally in my voice out. So if I replay it, hold up.
About love.
It brought that sound level down, okay? Let me see if I can find that Control U though again. Hold up, where is it? Oh, here it is right here. Auto heal section. So if I highlight, boop, it's got to be highlighted to do it, but Control U auto heals the selection for you. And you see how that dropped that out? So I'm going to back up. See this right here? And then if I redo it, it takes it out.
About love.
Now, personally, what I will do is after I've auto healed it, I'll select it. And I will just click on the number and then bag it down a few decibels. Do. Till I can barely see it.
Family narrative about love.
Now, it doesn't take it completely out of here. You can do that. For example, if I did this, back to all the way down to like -50, if you notice down here at the bottom, completely blank. But there's a difference.
Family
Watch.
narrative about love.
It took out all sound. And that's not natural. So it gives these pauses in your listening, in the listener's listening of it. Okay. Excuse me. So this right here, what I would do is Control U. That lowers it down, right? Then I will stop it. I'll do B. Right now, right here, right in that little area there. I'm just gonna swoopity swipe that, bring that down a little bit more, and then shoot, bring it to where it's barely visible there. Use about 10 decibels.
Okay. Now the characters,
and that's gone. Watch.
Love. Okay. Now the characters.
Boom. That takes it out. Now it's easier if you can do it to just watch your clicks, watch your breathing, your intonations, whether you've had a lot of liquid that day, if your mouth is dry, keeping that. The less you have to do, the more you watch those things early, the less you have to do later, okay? Another thing that you can do is if you go into your effects, there is a, where is it? Noise reduction. There is a denoiser and an automatic click remover.
Named Akasaki.
Now, threshold here, the higher the threshold, the more it's going to pull. Okay. You can also do heavy, light, or medium. If you do heavy,
intriguing family narrative about
it's going to bring it there. If you do light, it's going to bring it here. So the lower the number, I apologize, the lower the number, the higher, the harder it is going to pull those. But when it does that, it's also going to hear a difference in your audio. Watch.
Responsible figure, and it's really, really.
So we'll let that ride. So anything that clicks, it can be a letter, it can be anything. It's going to try to pull that out as we're going. And we're going to go back in here and we're going to re-listen to this segment here that we were just listening to shortly. And you'll see what I'm talking about.
The characters, again, each one's going to have their struggles. Relatable. Tamaya, which is Akazaki, they grow from this jaded youth to a responsible figure. And it's really, really heartfelt. You actually get to see.
Now we're going to come back here. That right there, that's a tongue click. And that's really what those clicks are. They're little.
And it's really, really hard.
It sounds up. That right there. Yeah. So we're gonna undo it.
Relatable. Tamaya, which is Akazaki, they grow from this jaded youth. Very well rounded though and relatable. Tamaya, which is Akazaki, they grow from this jaded youth to a responsible figure, and it's really, really hard.
Right there. There we go. I couldn't remember where it was. Here we are. Okay, that's at 42. So
Hard.
all right. So here, and we're gonna repeat the auto click remover. No. We're gonna undo that.
Tamaya, which is Akazaki.
Where's the 48? It's at 42. There we go. We're gonna undo the click remover.
Heartfelt.
And we're gonna try this again. See how that sounds, and you see how that looks right there. Now we're going to redo the click remover. And if you look at it, you can see that it drops down tremendously. You know, audio is a lot lower than that. So that's just the click remover itself. So that's something you can do. And then, like we said, we did the heel. So I'm going to redo what I did before on everything. That puts us back where we were. And then if you still hear things like that, so like I said, you can hit B for your heel button. And
heartfelt. You actually get to see and
it'll lower it down a little bit. Watch. Or, like I said, if you don't want to go through all of that, you can just zoop.
Really heartfelt.
And take it out. Just lower your thing there. It's still here. If you notice, it's still in there, right? Because you can go through and auto heal that till you're blue in the face if you want. The constant overdo will take it out.
Heartfelt.
The thing with auto heal is that it gives it like a watch. I'll show you. It gives it I'm gonna bring it back up.
Heartfelt.
Kind of an yaw. Yeah, it gives us a little sound to it if you don't lower the audio afterwards. So it can be done that way, but yeah, lowering it is definitely the way to do it from there. In my experience.
Heartfelt. You actually.
Okay. Now, once you get done with all of that, then at this point, it's ready to go because you've already got your levels. And this way, when you make any additional edits, you're hearing you're hearing exactly how it's going to sound when you export it out. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to do one last thing. We're going to highlight everything, and then we're going to our effects. Excuse me. Effects, special, and mastering. And everybody masters a little bit differently. One, you always want to listen to it when you're doing it.
View 5 animes that you should check out.
And this is your mastering
Now, this one revolves
level
around
here.
a character named Akasaki, a cynical delinquent who forms unique.
And I'm gonna drop this down here just a little bit.
Now, the story's appeal isn't just the drama, but it's also how it interweaves fantasy.
So there's different things you can do, right? I usually go for make room for vocals first to see how it looks.
About love. Okay. Now the characters, again, each one's gonna.
That's nice.
It makes
Okay.
it well-rounded though and relatable. Tamaya, which is Akazaki.
You could do concert hall, and so it sounds like it's in a concert hall, right? You could do subtle clarity, but you see that echo, right? Now, as you do it, if you look, this reverb right here, that's what that jumped. Because I can turn that reverb off. See? Or I can turn that reverb up. And you can make those changes. If you notice when you make the changes, the dot The little asterisk comes up when you've changed the preset.
Now, as far as the soundtrack,
Okay.
the series does boast a poignant soundtrack. The voice acting both in sub
Now, and if you close it without editing, it will go back in. Hold on real quick. I caught a clap of mine.
Now, as far as the sound,
Boom.
now as far as the sound,
There we go. Shoot. Get that out. Now, the main reason, just for the record, the main reason that I did those larger clicks earlier, and then I'm going back through and listening to it, everything afterwards, the main reason I do that is because it throws off that equalizer when you have those really high clicks in there. So you fix those first, then equalize it all. That way everything's in the same area. Then you can go back and listen to it. And then as you're doing your spot checks for clicks, loud clicks for your tongue or breaths that don't need to be where they are, things you need to heal, things you need to peek through, that's what you can do. So that's the process right there. Now, again, as far as the mastering portion of it, special mastering, personally,
now as far as the soundtrack and the voice acting, the series does
that's on custom from before. I try to go make room for vocals.
They excellently convey the character's emotions, which is something that is not always the case.
Or a mid enhancer.
Themes and messages, the anime delves deep into, again,
So those are the two that I normally will go with.
and facing your past
Club Master is an okay one.
not one for the faint of heart.
Dream Sequence, I'm not a fan, but Bright Hype can do it. Again, it depends on what you're going for and what you're adding to, right? So you can also just do Reducer,
It impacts individuals on so many different ways, and
which brings it down.
on the value of family and love.
Now, if you need to, you can do a default.
If you're a fan of angel beats or
You can do,
or both, you're gonna find it's quite a similar emotional storyline to those.
you can move these around yourself if need be, right? Widening it out, if you listen, watch.
There's some very mature themes, so it's very essential that
You can hear the changes in there with that, and how it kind of opens the sound up there, right? Maximizer
drama, those who do watch will appreciate the drama.
is literally just bringing your decibels up, okay? And then, of course, your gain, taking it down,
Score, we give it a
that gain, that additional gain in there. We don't usually want to mess with the gain because that's something you want to do as you're going through. You can do it in post-production, like I said, if you need to bump it up 2 or 3. If you go in, let's say you don't master it, right? Boom, we don't master it. It sounds decent where you've got it. You send this through to ACX, and it says, yo, you're down by like 3 decibels. You can easily go back in, finish the mastering chain, and update it that way if you want. But yeah, so I would do, again, this is all kinds of different stuff. You got the guitar, your loudness meter, and you can actually put that on there and see where it falls. So this will give you your true peak as well. So 2.9. As of right now, that's the true peak. So 2.4, 2.5. And you can look and see, and it'll tell you what you need. So if I need YouTube, if I want to set it for Spotify, excuse me, if I want to set it for Spotify, if I want to set it for Netflix, and I can apply that range to it, right? If I want to do a CD mastering, you can do that. So turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, and turn it on, right? So that's something that you can do as well. This is automatically placed in here. Now, again, there are other programs. Isotope RX is a good one. I don't have that one yet, but that will go through and pull all those clicks out for you, which makes that process even faster, as well as helping you out with some of the other different pieces that I individually do. But if you just have Adobe Audition, this is a way to do it. Okay. Hope that helped. Hope you enjoy, and I will catch you all later. If you want me to do more of these, like intro to Adobe Premiere Pro and intro to Adobe Audition, please let me know and what topics in the comments, and I'll try to do those. You guys have a great one.